Skypticals?
Yeah.
What do you say, Jess?
Oh,
You
yeah.
wanna talk to him?
I'll talk to Kaleb Harris.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to call him up.
Dun, 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 dun.
Ba, 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 ba. Calling Kaleb. Kaleb. Oh, there we go. Mr. Harris, is that you?
Think so. This is my first time running Skype, so I see y'all. Do y'all see me?
We do not see you.
Negative.
Maybe if you click on the camera on and off, we'll pop it on and off. If not, we can just do an audio version. Let's see if we can get that. Kaleb Harris is live with the MMA Holes 3-1-0 professional MMA fighter. He lost his last bare knuckle experience, but he is fighting again this August, and he is wonderful, wonderful. We're trying to see if we can get his camera on here, but we don't see
visual.
you. We don't see any visual.
Camera, I have no idea what I'm doing at this point.
All right, no worries, man. We're going to do this audio version then. How's that sound?
All right.
All right. So, Kaleb, thank you for joining us. You have competed. Well, let's start this way, okay? You were on the last Bare Knuckle 5, Artem Lobov versus Jason the Kid Knight. That was a crazy card. It was something. It must have been insane to be part of such a stacked lineup with Bare Knuckle FC.
Man, like, it was unbelievable. I was shell shocked at first because, like, I was like the new kid in school.
Hold on one second, Kaleb.
Jessie, I'm sorry for calling in the other day and calling you a nigger and telling you to suck my minuscule
it's
little
terrible.
penis. Truth is, after years of steroid abuse, my little button penis is weak and would provide you no pleasure.
All right, thank you.
Death to all minorities.
All right, so that's a great donation. By the way, Kaleb, we see you now. There you are. All right, we're in the flesh. Perfect. All right, so I must warn you, we didn't have usually with our calls, we warn them that we have a dysfunctional community and they donate and blah, blah, blah. So if you hear weird sounds, that's these idiots. All right.
That's cool, man. I've been watching your show before I came on, and just to kind of get an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, thank you for coming on. Back to the story. Let's hear about Bare Knuckle FC.
So, I wanted to do this back in Bare Knuckle 3, and I actually went down there. Every show that's been on the coast, because I only live 3 hours from there, I went and I signed up online, never heard nothing back. And then a matchmaker, Ricky Duran, that I fought for in MMA, was posting that he was helping to hook local fighters up. So I messaged him. We got it set. I went down there, and for the media, I've never done any kind of live event or anything. So I compared it to being the new kid in high school. I didn't know anybody. The 2 or 3 announcers that came and talked to me, I was like, going over there and like asking them, like, am I supposed to do this? Because I'm looking at Chris Lieben, Artem Lobov, Jason Knight, who I'd trained with before, but all of them, everybody's just walking around and they're going ahead and signing posters and everything, and I'm like, am I supposed to do that? And they're like, yeah, go. So I'm over here, and Chris Lieben, which, in fairness to him, before I say this, he was cutting weight, so as a fighter, I get it. He's behind me, and I'm signing posters and passing them back, and he's like telling me, he's like, dude, you got to hurry up, like, and just like he's over here signing like a professional, and I'm like taking my time trying to make these signatures look like they're legible. And he finally just got in front of me and just started like piling them up in front of me. But it was just crazy seeing all the cameras and just being a part of it. Like it dawned on me then that like I took a step up in my career.
Now, you started your career, mixed martial artist. You won 3 in a row. You were doing pretty damn good over there. You took 1 loss, and then boom, you get this call for Bare Knuckle. How does this happen? Do you have an agent, or how did you get the call for Bare Knuckle?
Like I said, I don't have a manager right now. I've tried to talk to a couple of guys that I know that are in the management business, but we never could hook up to actually talk. So really, I've just been annoying the shit out of the matchmakers that are involved with the Bare Knuckle. And like I said, Ricky Duran used to host Blood and Sand MMA fights on the coast, and I fought for him. So when I started seeing him, I messaged him. I asked, my main thing was I wanted to know how much the pay was. Not that it's all about the money, but if I'm going to step in the cage and get punched bare-fisted for the very first time, I got to get paid more than what I'm getting paid with gloves. And he told me what I'd get paid, and he told me a good amount. So I told him I wanted on. I was willing to fight whoever. I mean, That's our team at Black Sails MMA. We don't care who we fight. So I was willing to step in the cage with anybody that wanted to get in there.
Now,
and
I'm actually curious, and you don't have to say if you don't want, but how much do they pay for bare knuckle?
Okay, I can't speak for anybody else. My first fight, going against somebody that was had 2 fights already in the bare knuckle ring, Harris Stevenson. I got paid a flat rate of $2,000, plus I got 2 tables to sell at my own price because I got to keep all the money. So all in all, I made about $3,300 off the first bare knuckle fight between selling my hats and shirts and then selling tickets.
If you're in the regional scene, you're not nearly going to make money like that. I mean, it's
my last 30 days before that, I had fought an MMA fight for a title for SFC against Jesse James Wallace, who I'm sure you guys will be watching in about 3 weeks on the Contender Series. He's my only pro loss, and he was number 1 in the state. But for that fight, I was supposed to get paid 6 and 6. 6 to fight, 6 to win, plus I got 15% of all tickets I sold. So I made a third of what I made off the bare knuckle. But local MMA shows, I mean, they don't have the money that like Mr. Feldman's got backing him. I mean, so it's understandable that they can't pay that much just yet.
Now, okay, and we have a live chat going over here. Jesse's going to take some questions from the chat, so we'll get to that in a second. Right now we have Kaleb Harris live with the MMA Holes. He fought on Bare Knuckle 5. Does it look like you're fighting in August, Bare Knuckle 7? Is that a done deal?
I do not have an opponent or a weight yet, but I am told by both matchmakers that I am locked in for the fight. That they just got to find somebody that's willing to get in the squared circle with me.
Great.
And I mean, I told them already that I'm open to going back to a 55 fight or doing the 165 since they have that division. And I told them I'd step in there with any boxer or MMA fighter that wanted to take the gloves off and throw hands.
Okay. Now, explain to me this. The difference between MMA and bare knuckle. We watch it here. We do live reactions to it, and we cannot believe what we see over here. But a lot of people are saying that bare knuckle is safer than mixed martial arts. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Before I say anything, I'm not a doctor. I don't know a lot of the medical stuff behind it. Just the people that I respect that have been in the sport a long time say that studies have shown that as far as bare knuckle goes, it's more cosmetic. Like, yes, you get cut up, you get bloody. Y'all saw mine and Harris's fight and Jason and Artem's fight. I mean, but within a week, I was perfectly fine. Just a little bruised up. With MMA, it's more of like getting hit with a sledgehammer. You're getting hit with concussive damage, so it's ringing through to the brain. From what I've understood, again, this is all just from what people have told me. I cut grass for a living. I don't do the whole medical. But as far as the dangers, I mean, you don't have gloves on your shins. You don't have gloves on your feet, and those get connected with heads all the time. I think it was Jessica I fought somebody and got hit with a shin to the dome, and it knocked her out for 10 minutes. And the worst I saw of the bare knuckle fights was some people got bloody, and that was it.
So we have a donation coming in over here. I'm going to replay it over here because I didn't want to interrupt what you were saying. Kaleb Harris is live with the MMA Holes. He is a 3-1 mixed martial artist. He fights in bare knuckle now, and we're discussing, is it more dangerous than mixed martial arts? Now, when we originally watched the first event that we watched, we were like blown away. We couldn't believe how vicious it looks on TV. And then you see the physical damage. After hearing doctors speak about it and MMA fighters, you're starting to change your opinion. And yeah, if you're getting hit with shins and elbows, I mean, that's like getting hit with a bat. I mean, that's got to be some dangerous stuff. We got a lot of donations coming in over here. Let me play this one over here.
Ask this guy what he thinks about a bunch of city slicker Yankees bashing him for his accent and being a southerner. I used to live in Benton, Arkansas. Ask him if he knows where that is. Yeehaw, giddy up, partner.
Okay. So that is from Kevin from Chicago. I'm not sure. Did you hear that question?
I heard it. All I got to say to any Northerners that got a problem with my accent, they can come step in the squared circle and get these hands. I mean, come down to the South, and they're going to be the ones sounding funny, not me.
All right, let me play another donation over here. Let's see if we can get this one going. This is from
Huge Kaleb fan.
Huge Kaleb fan is donating. I didn't even know. Look at that, a big fan coming in over here. Let's see if we can get this donation played. All right, and if we can't get it played, we'll just read it out to you. Kaleb Harris live with the MMA holds bare knuckle FC5 fought, and if you didn't see that fight, I mean, you got to run it back. It was a fantastic back and forth. Some people say that you won this fight. Before we get into that question over there, I'm going to ask this question because I don't know why the donation's not playing. Jessie, what did Huge Kaleb fan say?
He says, I am a huge Kaleb fan. Seen all 3 of his fights. He is a beast, huge heart. He's my favorite because he's the first openly gay fighter. Congrats on that. Be proud to sodomize. Quick question. What are your thoughts on that white coon Mike Perry?
Okay, so first off, he wants to know if you're homosexual.
I am not.
Okay, we got that out of the way. Now, Mike Perry, what do you think about Platinum Mike Perry?
I think that he's hilarious, man. Like, he goes out and he talks the way he talks and does what he does. I mean, but I like watching him fight. So, I mean, I got nothing bad to say about Mike Perry.
There you go. All right, so now where are you from?
I'm from originally Lake Mississippi. It's a little small town about an hour outside of Jackson, Mississippi. And I currently live in Pearl, which is like just right next to Jackson, right outside of the capital of the state.
All right.
And I moved here about 3 or 4 years ago so I could be closer to training.
There we go. Kaleb Harris live with the MMA holes. We're going to talk some bare knuckle FC, which is this weekend. We have bare knuckle 6 going down.
Yes.
Artem versus Paulie. I want to get your thoughts on Artem Lobov. We have a donation coming in. Let me let this play.
All right.
And we'll get, this is from Cree85.
Kaleb Harris, would you fight a kangaroo?
Oh, that's a great question. Would you fight a kangaroo?
If the money was right, I mean, sure, why not? As long as Peter didn't get on my ass.
All right, fair enough. Now, Artem Lobov, let's talk about this. I had the pleasure of meeting Artem and Paulie. Artem Lobov is an incredibly nice guy, and you got to fight on the same card as the greatest fighter of all time. Explain your experience with Artem Lobov.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. Like, before I met Artem, I had an issue like with the UFC in general because I was trying to figure out how somebody with a record that shows of his had made it to the UFC. I thought at first that he had gotten there off of Conor, just like everybody else did. After watching Artem fight and then actually getting to meet and speak with Artem, Artem is one of the coolest dudes there. I was actually back there in the corner, in the same colored corner as him. So, and he's just sitting back there chilling, and anybody that walked up and sat down, he talked to. I actually was kind of bummed because I was supposed to be like the start of the pay-per-view card. And then when we got there, they bumped me and Harris off of it because they had too many fighters and not enough time. So I'm walking around, I'm kind of bummed. They told me that if they get enough time, like if a fight goes too quick, they'd stick me on. Well, Artem actually walked up to me and asked me what was wrong. And I was like, man, I'm just bummed. You know, everybody bought this pay-per-view to watch me fight, and, you know, now they're not going to get to see me. He's like, I'm probably going to have to fight after y'all. And he goes, well, man, when you go out there and you kick ass and you show them why you deserve to be on the pay-per-view. And that really meant a lot just for the fact that, like, this dude's, he's not a superstar, but I mean, that's who the people paid to come see. And I mean, he went out of his way to come talk to me and, you know, just see what was up. And as luck would have it, Chris Levy went out there and finished in 25 seconds, and I got to go on technically as the co-main event for the Jason Knight Artem Lobov fight. So it was pretty awesome getting to meet him. As far as Paulie goes, I don't know anything about Paulie except for what I've seen on the face-offs, but I'm backing Artem for this fight. So
now, what do you think between the two styles here? I mean, Artem Lobov is coming from MMA. He's performed already within the bare knuckle organization, so he knows what to expect. You got an older guy that's retired, Paulie Malignaggi, coming from a boxing background. What do you think about this actual matchup?
So I've got an odd opinion. Like, for one, age doesn't mean a thing to me. Actually, the hardest guy to ever hit me was like almost twice my age. I mean, he was 40-something years old when I fought him, Bobby Taylor. So the age doesn't really mean anything to me. But as far as the matchup, boxing or MMA, bare knuckle is its own sport. So it's gritty, it's rough. The ring is half the size. I can't speak on a boxing ring, but the ring is half the size of like an octagon. So if you're used to standing in the pocket and banging it out and just having a toe-to-toe war like, Artem's had with Knight, I feel I've never seen Paulie box. Like I just never watched him box, but from what everybody says, he's gonna point him to death. So if he fights like a Mayweather and just goes out there and just points, I think he could win the fight. But if he tries to toe the line with Artem, I think Artem's just got a little too much grit, and I feel that comes from MMA fighters having to deal with the wrestling and the clinch work and just having somebody grind on top of you all the time. Versus with a boxer, you're just getting hands thrown at you.
Now, this style of fighting here, there is no gloves. So how do you protect your hands and how do you prepare your face for what is to come in something like this? Is it just pure adrenaline? Is it like a bar fight? Like, explain the experience of being inside those ropes.
So, funny story about that. I'm 25, almost 26 years old. My very first time getting hit with a bare fist or anything like that was at the bare knuckle fight. I've never been in a street fight. I had never been in a barroom brawl. If it wasn't with gloves on, I've never been hit. So I told myself, and I had Stitch come up to me and tell me, you're going to get cut tonight. It's just no exception of it. But to know that and then have it happen for the first time, that's why, and not taking anything away from Harris, but the first 2 rounds, my heart was racing 90-0 because I've never been split open, even in MMA, and I've never been hit bare fist. So that shock was just overwhelming, and all I could think was they're fixing to stop this fight. But they didn't. The cut man worked a miracle on me, and after about that 3rd round, like you said, the adrenaline starts taking over, and it just become another fight. I started finding my game. I started finding the left hook. And I started having fun, and there's actually photos of me and Harris just laughing at each other just because we just enjoyed being in that ring. But yeah, so I can't really speak for anybody else because all my teammates and stuff, they've been in street fights when they were kids, and they were just laughing at me because they thought it was funny that the first time me getting hit bare fist was I was going to get paid $2,000 to do it and fight a cop. So, which I'm a full supporter of the police. I just thought that was funny.
There you go. Kaleb Harris live with the MMA holes. I'm showing a picture right now of you actually smiling at your opponent. That fight was fun to watch. It really was. I mean, you two really went at it. Vlad dropped in the chat a donation. Let's see what we got over here from Vlad.
How excited are you to share the stage with arguably one of the greatest to ever step foot in an octagon in Lord Artem Gotbov?
We heard that.
Also, thanks for pointing out that you aren't a doctor. Fooled me.
Do you get mistaken for a doctor a lot?
Yeah, all the time.
All right. Thank you for the donations, guys. Appreciate it. Kaleb Harris here. August 2nd, you said, is when you're looking to get back into bare knuckle, correct?
August 10th.
August 10th. All right, a couple of days off. August 10th. We're looking forward to seeing you back in that the roped with the squared circle is what you guys call it, right? Something like that. We got a donation coming in. Oh, it's Monica Lewinsky is donating.
You don't need an MMA career. All you have to do is suck off Joe Rogan 4 times a day and you boom. Just like Shoe Up, you're a famous comedian on the #1 podcast. Oral sex pays off. Trust me. My lips and slutty heart made me millions.
Okay, so that's some advice from Monica Lewinsky. I'm not sure. You might be too young for that, or I don't know. But
no, I mean, I know who that is, but I guess I appreciate the financial advice.
All right, let's get to the chat over here. Jessie has some questions from our audience, and I can only imagine what this is.
Yeah.
All right.
Mike Lanzalone wants to know what you think of Felony. Have you ever met him? Felony Charles Bennett.
Yeah. I mean, we've only spoke like 2 or 3 words. I saw him at the very first bare knuckle event, but I don't know if that's his natural personality or if that's the persona he puts on for entertainment. But the dude's wild. Like, I mean, he was out after the fight with his glasses half crooked on his face and just dancing around with the fans. I mean, at first I wasn't too big a fan of how he was acting, but then I saw him acting with the fans and stuff. He's actually a really cool dude. Like, you know, I never sat down and drank drank a beer with him or nothing, but I mean, from what I've seen, he's a pretty cool dude.
I'm fairly certain that's his actual personality.
No, he's not. He's a nice guy. I've talked to him off air. He's a nice guy. But it is a shtick, and he stays in that shtick. So, Felony Charles Bennett is a legend of the sport, and he's wonderful, wonderful, of course.
Wonderful.
What other questions do we have?
Do you boot, scoot, and boogie?
I do not. No, I don't have any rhythm. They say all fighters have rhythm. I'm the exception to the rule. That's the only time I can move is when I'm fighting.
Have you ever wrestled one of them gators?
No, but my boss is supposedly taking me on. If he gets the license to do it, he's taking me on one. So,
can we nickname you Lil Chuck?
What?
That's what they called me in middle school when I had the mohawk. Now I've just got a ponytail right now, but so I can corner up before a fight.
Now, let me ask you a question. You fighting on August 10th, bare knuckle. After you knock out your opponent, is there any chance that we can get you look into the camera and say, MMA Hole, screaming it on top of your lungs over here, represent this community of misfits? What do you say, Kaleb?
Heck yeah, man. For y'all having me on, shoot, yeah. Y'all
Now
send me
we're
a
talking.
shirt and I'll wear it to the fight.
There you go.
That's
That is
what we
done.
have to do.
Send me your address. We'll send you a shirt for sure. There we go. Kaleb Harris representing the MMA Holes. Now I think we got something going here, right? I'm pumped up. After your last fight, god damn it, I can't wait to see you fight again.
Heck
All right.
yeah, man. I'm looking for sponsors right now.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye out for you. We have a couple of sponsors that we can probably send your way. Jessie, what do you got?
Who will win between Bieber and Cruz?
Well, I'm not a fan of Bieber's music, so I'm gonna put my money on the guy that does his own stunts, not has bodyguards walking around with him. So
Exactly. All right. When did you first get into the fight game for money?
well, I started martial arts when I was 7, and here in Mississippi, you can't fight MMA until you're 18. So I was a senior in high school when I did my first amateur MMA fight, and I think it's been about 3 years ago that I went pro. So.
All right. One more for you. How many more fights will you fight at bare knuckle?
As many as they want. I mean, I don't go into something to just do it for the fun. I mean, if I'm gonna fight bare knuckle and MMA, I'm looking for titles in both. So I'm 0-1 in bare knuckle right now, so it's not like I got a lot to call out on. But we had a really good fight, and I definitely wasn't gonna leave. My mom and dad hoped I was, but I can't leave on an L. So I'm definitely going back, and we're gonna see what happens after I put on another show.
There we go. Listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Now is the time to shout out sponsors. What can we look forward to in the future? Kaleb Harris, and the stage is yours.
Man, I want to thank my sponsors that are already with me right now. Lyle's Machinery, Wilkerson's Flooring from Lake Mississippi, and Beavers Unlimited, Brian Fedrick, and then my best friend, Dustin Apuma, has a gym that I teach at, Primal Martial Arts Academy in Forest, Mississippi. I want to thank all of them for sticking with me throughout my entire fight career. And as far as what to look forward to, man, I'm looking to shock and awe. I mean, whether it's in bare knuckle or MMA next, this is going to be my 20th fight. I'm looking to get a knockout for this fight. I don't care who the opponent is. I don't care what weight class it is. I'm just ready to get back in there and fight. So,
Flat Earth Deacon would like to close it off by saying, "Thank you, Lil Chuck."
I think you got a bunch of new fans over here. I think they're turning.
I hope so. They need to go to my Facebook page and like me, Kaleb Lionheart Harris, man.
There you go, Kaleb Lionheart Harris, and on Instagram it's Lionheart2193. Correct?
That's correct.
All right, so go follow Kaleb. Say wonderful, wonderful. Drop that over there, and you are officially an MMA Hole. One more donation's coming in. And let's see who this is from. Ali.
Send more than shirt. Send him coke. Send him hookers. Send his opponent a hooker with a clap. He's going to knock the guy out and promote the MMA Holes. Also send him some EpiPens in case it goes the full 5 rounds. Hashtag openly gay MMA fighter.
I think that was Ali Abdelaziz, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Jessie?
I thought the whole donation was fantastic, except for the last part.
Yeah. We got one more coming in. We'll let this one come through.
All right, let's hear it.
And here we go. Let's see. BK Road is coming in.
Kaleb needs a Chuck Liddell style head tattoo.
Okay, Chuck Liddell style head tattoo. I mean, listen, you got the hairdo already. All you need is the tattoo.
I'm gonna work on my leg piece and on my arm. That's and maybe my back, but I ain't putting no needles in my head.
All right, Kaleb. Hey, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Looking forward to your next fight. And hey, when you're about to step back in, you're welcome back at any time.
Man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, be good.
Thanks, little Chuck.
Kaleb Harris on the MMA holes. What a nice guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Right? I thought it was good. Listen,